All right, so now we have a game against Tal.
Yeah, Botvinnik against Tal, that would be a very nice game. I mean, very unusual. Why is very unusual? Because finally,
Yes.
we'll see Botvinnik playing a little bit like Tal with
Was he
white.
playing like Tal
Yeah,
against Tal?
yeah. So this is a very sharp line. You see the so-called Zemish variation against Nimzovich. If you remember, I played Zemish against Fischer in Havana in this well-known game that I could beat Fischer. And here we have another line playing for black. Tal was playing for black, and it's very complicated. Well, Tal is playing for win, with black. You see, we see. Everything is theory, and it is very instructive. Well, until now, theory. So, okay, d5 takes in d5, bishop takes f1, king takes f1, e takes d5. Well, the first moment. Now, if white plays e5, is some other line. If he plays bishop g5, is very complicated. Okay, he played bishop g5. After bishop g5, h6, they said after the game
Yeah.
that it wasn't really necessary to play h6. I mean, the game could continue like this. Instead of h6, he could take in e4. It seems very unusual, and very complicated. But here, excuse me, like this. Yeah,
Yes.
and here, if he takes now in
E4.
e4, now maybe h6, and it's completely different because now you probably have to take in f3 in f6. Okay, it's better for black, for white, pardon, but it's not so much like in this game. We'll see. The move order was different. He thought probably that it's even better to play like this by provoking Botvinnik. I mean, he wanted to have a very complicated game, and he gave some chances, Tal. Okay, h6, now queen a4, very interesting. Now after queen a4, if he played queen d7, it was probably better for white. I mean, Botvinnik gave this position, queen d7, takes with check in d7, knight takes, yeah? And now bishop takes f6, knight takes f6, and d5, better for white, he said. Better for white, why? Because if knight comes back to d7, he has time to push f4 and knight f3. And he has more space and okay, a better position. He was very content, like to have something like this. In reality, white has something, let's say, is a little bit unpleasant for black and completely in Botvinnik style and against Tal's style, very quietly.
Very boring.
Yeah, very boring, but always better for white without any counterplay. So, right, he didn't accept to play like this and he played c6 to have a very complicated position. After c6, okay, now bishop h4. And here, he said, okay, he took in e4 and rook e1. And here, okay, instead of g5, he said that it was possible to play like this. Castle, is a little bit unusual, but it's probably all right.
Who
Now,
said? Tal?
Botvinnik himself, he
Botvinnik.
analyzed it, well, together with Tal after the game. And after castle, if he takes now in e4, very surprising move now, queen c7, but very good, because now he gives you the chance to take in f6, but he has the move queen f4, and black is okay. Queen f4 check. He can take back the bishop, and very complicated game. I mean, exactly the same, the line that
Tal's like.
he wanted to have, Tal. If he could have something like this, he could be, very happy. But he had something completely different in their game. I mean, he complicated it much too much, we'll see. So, okay, maybe he didn't see, I don't know. So he accepted to play like this, considering the fact that white had to play probably bishop g3. If he played bishop g3, maybe black was all right. But he played much better bishop f2. We'll see what is the difference. He wants to come with the knight in e2 and then the knight to g3. Therefore,
Yeah.
the bishop in f2 is very good, And here, queen e7, I mean, he continues to complicate the game, all the time. Even here was maybe interesting to play queen d5. They said that after queen d5, white was better, but it's not clear it's not very clear why, you see. And they gave this variation here, for instance, queen d5, and if he comes after queen d5, c4. After c4, he has to move the queen, and he can move the queen to to f5 or to e6. After queen f5, after queen c2 is clearly better for white, because he wants to take with the pawn in e4, which is protected, and then he comes back with the knight in f3, knight e5. Clearly better for white. But he could have this position: queen d5,
Sorry.
queen d5, c4, queen e6. Queen e6, and after queen e6, f takes there, knight takes, queen c2, completely crazy position, and here f5, and after f5, g4. Look at this theory. I mean, they said he has that. It was analysis, Botvinnik, and he was sure that white is better, but it's very unclear, Maybe it's okay for white, but it's not clear at all after castle, for instance,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
It's not clear, But okay, it would be different. So instead of this, he played. What did he play? He played queen e7, I think. No.
Yes.
Queen e7. Okay. After queen e7, again knight e2, and then b5 again, provoking again, provoking. And here queen c2, and he took the pawn. Well, if you take such a pawn with the king still in
The middle.
e8,
Yeah.
it's very
Very risky.
provoking. Maybe black could save the game somehow later on, but it's already very dangerous tactically. And starting from here, Botvinnik, of course, he's forced to play a little bit like Tal, very tactically.
Okay.
So he plays the best move, h4, to open completely the lines, for everything. So here, after the game, they found that the best move is here rook g8. If he plays rook g8, maybe black could resist. But even after rook g8, white can take in g5, opening the line. He has to take with the pawn and knight g3. Okay, and after knight g3, he has time probably to play knight bd7, and maybe, to have some complicated game. Maybe black can resist, But even there, white is better, because the game is too open. So instead of this, he took in h4. This is unbelievable, to take in such a position, to take in h4. He tries to open everything, to play for win. And we see the result finally. All this, finally, the game will be reversed in white's favor, But it's normal because everything is too open and the black's king is too weak, you see.
Yeah.
Now the only way to do it is to go on the other side, castle wrong side, by playing first b5 and then you move the king to c8. I mean, castling,
Yeah.
So knight g3. Well, it's a very big difference now because finally the bishop from h4 is very strong and will give the final blow to the black's king, you see. So now everything is clear. Now he took back in e4. Everything is forced, rook e8. Finally, he has some active move, but it's not enough because he's pinned, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah? And now what to do? After rook e8, quietly, king f2. Not only that he could move the king to a safe position, but he's threatening rook a1, After rook a1, he takes the pawn from a7 and has fantastic initiative, Probably decisive, Like in their game. So now he took back with the pawn, and we see the result. What to do now? f6 so is a very sad that we have to move f6. If you give the exchange, it's clear, it's finished, And now after f6, everything is forced. Now black is lost. Now, rook a1, queen e7, and rook takes a7. Now it's terrible, Now you have to accept the fact that white has very strong attacking chances, and you try to save the game, but it's too late.
So Tal cannot play like Botvinnik now to defend like
No.
Botvinnik.
Now it's too much. I mean, he did too much before. I mean, he opened too much the position, and now the result it's a catastrophe for Black. I mean, it's much too much. Of course, even if it wasn't Botvinnik, it was another strong grandmaster, he could win this with White. Because it's very little. A small chance for Black and completely winning for White. You see.
Yeah.
So, and everything is forced. Now he takes, and now simply he gives a check. Now he saw it that after King C7, he loses immediately after Bishop G3 check.
Yeah.
And he can resign. So, what can he do here? He has to move only Knight B8. Okay, after Knight B8, Bishop G3 again. Now the only move again,
Bishop,
King B7. No?
Yeah.
King B7. So, and now, look,
Yeah,
almost mate. What to do? Rook C8, the only move again, and now check. And now he played there, and now again he took there. Now you can't take back with the rook because he's mate in one. If you take with the rook there, rook from A1, A6 mate.
Yeah. So he lost a piece.
Okay, so he lost a piece. So he played B4, Bishop D6. Again he threatens mate. So he took, and now again check. King B5, and now rook A1, A4, mate in 1 in A5, and he resigned.
Mating.
The other rook wants to mate in A5.
B5.
In
B4.
A5, yeah. No, in B4, pardon. Well, he threatens two mates, in B4 and A5, Terrible,
He resigned.
But everything was possible because Tal was playing like a crazy one, the whole game. I mean, he was forcing much too much. I mean, in every position, he wants to have some initiative, even if the position was dangerous. I mean,
and this one in a world champion.
I mean, it wasn't forced to play like this. I mean, this is unbelievable. Why? You see? But it happens, Sometimes I don't know, you have a blackout or something, and you play like this. Because it was not a normal game, I mean. Tal was forcing, and finally he came to such a position,
It was too much.
No, much too much, of course. No. But Botvinnik was not guilty, but he had to win. I mean, okay, he won.
And accepted the challenge.
Yeah, he accepted the challenge, but...
Nice.
No.
Thank you, Mr.
But very unusual game, of course, very unusual.
Yes.
So therefore I told you that he played a little bit like Tal. He was forced to accept the challenge, played like this. But what to do? I mean, he played a little bit like his opponent's style. You see?
Nice. All right.
Yeah.